Hi there Hyundai owners. Today in our 2022 Hyundai Kona, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install CURT's 1¼ inch trailer hitch receiver. And this is what our hitch is going to look like when it's installed. The majority of the hitch is going to be hidden behind the bumper here. We don't need to remove the bumper to install it, so that's nice. But you're really just going to see this receiver here at the back, and it is fairly small and tucked up underneath, so it really doesn't detract too much from the looks of the vehicle. It's a 1¼ inch by 1¼ inch receiver, so it's going to be great for all your light duty towing applications or for accessories. It's kind of the main purpose of these 1¼ so you can use your bike racks and things like that with it, but it does have the ability to do a little bit of towing as well. You'll secure your accessories to your hitch using a 1/2 inch hitch pin and clip. One doesn't come included with the hitch, but we've got plenty available here at eTrailer, and I'd recommend locking ones to protect your investments. On bottom, it has hoop-style safety chain loops with a very large opening that should work with just about any size safety chain that you throw at it. I'm sure our small one here has no problem going on, and our big one here also goes on and off with ease. This hitch features a 200-pound tongue weight, which is the force going down on top of our receiver. Now with 200 pounds there, that's the total tongue weight for our hitch, so that does include any accessories on it, such as your bike rack or your cargo carrier, plus anything you load onto those devices. So just keep in mind it does include all that together. It does also have a 2,000 pound gross towing capacity, which is how much that you can pull behind it. And with 2,000 pounds available, you should be able to do some light duty towing. Maybe you've got a small jet ski trailer, maybe a little John boat. You could probably pull this with that. Or maybe just a little tiny utility trailer that you might use to haul away some junk, or maybe move a lawnmower over to somebody's house to help them out or something like that. Now I've got some measurements for you here from the center of our hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper. We're right at about 3 inches. This measurement is important when determining if your accessory will contact the bumper when inserted, and if it can be placed in an upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And from the ground to the top inside edge of our receiver tube, we're right at about 12.5 inches. And this is important for determining if you need to drop, a rise, or a raise shank on your accessories. And since this one is kind of low, I would recommend a raise shank on your accessories. And now we've covered some of the features of our hitch. If you want to follow along with us, we'll show you how to get it installed. This one is pretty easy. I'd say it's something you can do in your driveway in less than an hour. So this is the bottom of the bumper beam on the driver's side. This is the electrical connector we want to remove. If you got a trim panel tool, you can get up under here and get under the connector end so you can pop that off the frame. Get that off of there. Then just press in on the release tab, separate the two pieces. We can then take this piece, we're going to put it up over top the frame, grab this piece, put it over top the frame, and then plug the two pieces back together. And then over on the passenger side here, the undershield that you see here, we're going to remove. There's 2 push pins here on the bottom and a single bolt up there. We'll go ahead and do the push pins first. The pins have a little slit on 4 different sides of it, so choose one of those. Put a screwdriver or a trim panel tool in, you can pop the head out and then just pull that down. Do the same thing with the other clip. And we're going to grab a 10mm socket to remove the single nut. And then we can pull our paneling down. So next we need to lower down our exhaust. Before we do that, we're going to take a strap and I'm just going to hook it on the coil spring on each side. And then we'll just snug that up. That'll just ensure that our exhaust doesn't lower down too far and potentially damage anything. Once you've got it strapped into place, we've got 2 hangers we'll need to remove. One over here on this side and one on the other side. And then there's another optional hanger here in the middle that if you want to remove, if you think you need the extra distance to lower it down to install your hitch, you could also remove that one. To lower down our hangers, we're going to use some silicone spray. That'll make it slide off of there a little bit easier. And then there are hanger removal tools, but I find that a pry bar works pretty good. You can usually just use this in most cases and you're going to be fine. Just find a place on here where you can hook your pry bar and then just pry it off of there. You almost got it pried off the top there. Once you get it that far, a lot of times you can just reach up there by hand at that point and just pull it off the rest of the way. There we go. So we got that one off. We'll do the other side the same way. This side's a little bit easier to get to since you don't have the exhaust tip right in your way there. And get that hooked on there. I don't think we really need to lower the middle hanger. We can come here to our strap and always give ourselves a little bit more slack if we need it. That's probably about as far as we'll want to go there. But that should be plenty of space to work with right there. So that's probably fine. I think we're gonna go ahead and just take it off anyway, just because this one side's a little bit higher and it might make it difficult for the camera to see, but I think there'd be plenty of room to work there. So now we're gonna feed our hardware into the side of the frame here. If you look on the side here, just to the outside of the frame, this is right where we remove that paneling on the passenger side. It's gonna be the same over on the driver's side. You'll have 3 holes in the side of the frame there. The upper hole we don't want. We want the hole that's furthest rear that's low, and then the one that's furthest to the front that's low. Our fish wire is gonna come out of this location here. That's how we're gonna get our bolts into the frame. So go pull that rubber plug out of there. I always recommend after you pull the plug out, just verify your hardware is gonna fit. So it looks like that would fit. Looks like our bolt's gonna fit. So we don't need to modify anything there. It's all gonna fit fine. So now we're gonna take our fish wire. I always like to put a little bend at the end of the fish wire. That just helps me from accidentally losing the fish wire in the frame. And now we're gonna feed them in. I'm gonna start with the furthest one from our access hole. So we're starting in the rearmost hole, feeding our wire in and running it towards the front. We can then reach in this hole, grab the coiled end that we poked in there, and pull it on out. And it looks like there's some grease inside the frame there, so just if you feel something gooey in there, it's probably just some grease. It's probably to prevent corrosion and stuff from occurring inside the frame. It's actually really nice. You don't see that in a lot of vehicles. We'll then take our hardware, which is going to be one of these spacers here, and then one of the bolts. Take the spacer, push that over your fish wire, slide that up into the frame. Then take your bolt, thread it onto the coiled end there. And then we can push that in the frame, pull our fish wire until our bolt pops out the side. Once it pops out the side, just drop it right back in. Because it needs to be in slightly so we can get our hitch raised up. Just like that, we just want it to be sitting right there. So now we're gonna do the same thing with the other hole there, the other lower hole. And we'll do both of these over on the driver's side the same way as we're doing it here. Now with an extra set of hands, we're gonna take our fish wires, feed them through our hitch from the inside towards the outside. Make sure to feed the correct one through. And our hitch will raise up into position. And then you can pull your bolts back through the hitch there. The weight of the hitch will rest on the bolts a little bit. That'll make it easier to work with it. And then you do want to be careful not to push one of the bolts back into the frame and remove your fish wire and install one of the nuts on there. So as I'm removing the fish wire, I'm keeping a finger on the bolt, keeping a little bit of pressure on it because we don't want it to fall back inside the frame. And then we can get a nut started on there. And if your finger's in the way when you're trying to do this, you might need to use a screwdriver or some other tool to put a little side pressure on the bolt for you. So that way it doesn't push in. And then we can get our nut threaded on there. And we'll do the same thing for each of our bolts. And then once we get all 4 bolts started on both the passenger and on the driver's side over here, we can go ahead and run them down with an 18mm socket. We can then go back and torque our hardware to the specifications outlined in our instructions. Once our hitch is torqued down, we can go ahead and spray down our hangers with the silicone spray again. And just lift up on your exhaust, and you should be able to just push that hanger right back on there, just like that. Do the same thing on this side. The silicone spray really makes a huge difference in being able to put that on there. Without it, trying to do it dry, it's very difficult to get it to slide on. Then we've got our middle one, if you so choose to remove that one as well. Don't forget to take that one. After that, we'll get our tools and our strap out of the way there, and then we can reinstall our paneling that we had removed there. It'll just slide up on there. Take that little lip up in there just like that. Our push pins just simply insert into there. Kind of got to squeeze the ends, so if you spin it a little bit, you can usually get them to kind of squeeze together, so that way all four of the little prongs line up. If you pull the head out some, they'll squeeze together closer together to make it easier to insert. And then you've got your single nut that goes on there. We'll just grab our gun and zip that down. And that completes our installation of CURT's 1 1/4 inch trailer hitch receiver on our 2022 Hyundai Kona.